Welcome, Guardians, to Insightful Gaming, where we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of Destiny 2. Are you ready to discover the future of PvP and PvE in Destiny? Introducing the new Strand subclass, a powerful darkness power that allows players to manipulate space and time, known as the Weave. This exciting new addition to the game will change the way you play and give you an edge in both PvP and PvE. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into the Strand subclass, its abilities, and how it will impact the game. So sit back, relax, and get ready to master the Strand subclass. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like the video if you enjoyed it. Let's dive in. Now let's talk about the Strand subclass, the new addition to the game that's been causing a buzz in the community. As you may know, the Strand is all about manipulating space and time, giving players the power to reach into the fabric of the world around them, like in the Matrix. But did you know that Strand is rooted in psychic energy? That's right, Guardians, you will be tapping into the power of the mind to take down your enemies. As we've seen in the trailer for Neomuna, the Strand subclass will come in 3 different forms for each class: the Broodweaver for Warlocks, the Threadrunner for Hunters, and the Berserker for Titans. Each class will have its own unique abilities, but one thing is for sure, they'll all be able to grapple, a brand new gameplay mechanic that's never been seen before in Destiny 2. Imagine swinging between the towering skyscrapers of Neomuna like a cyberpunk Spider-Man. That's the level of cool we're talking about here. But here's something you may not know about the Strand subclass. It's the first time Guardians will be discovering and learning to use this power. That's right, in the game universe, no one has ever used Strand before. You'll be the first ones to master this new power and set yourself apart from the rest of the Guardians. With the Strand subclass, you'll be taking on the toughest enemies and dominating in PvP and PvE like never before. But that's not all. The Strand subclass also offers a lot of potential for customization. From aspects and fragments to augment your character builds, to different melee, grenade, and class ability options, the Strand subclass will give players the opportunity to tailor their playstyle for their own preferences. The community has been speculating about the various ways Strand abilities can be used, from being able to slow down time for enemies, to manipulating gravity for quick and agile movement. The possibilities are endless. Another exciting aspect of the Strand subclass is the potential for new strategies in PvP. With the ability to grapple and manipulate space and time, players will be able to outsmart and outmaneuver their opponents in new and exciting ways. The community is speculating that the Strand subclass could potentially change the meta in PvP as players figure out new ways to use the abilities to their advantage. While we're still waiting for more details on exactly what the Strand subclass will bring to the table, one thing is for sure: it's going to shake things up in both PvP and PvE. Let's start with the Titans, who will be known as Berserkers with their Strand abilities. From what we've seen so far, Titans will be able to manifest claws to sever their targets from the Weave, giving them powerful melee attacks to take down their enemies. Some in the community have speculated that this ability could potentially allow Titans to phase through solid objects or even summon spectral claws to attack from a distance. For Titans or Berserkers, the Strand abilities will allow them to manifest claws that can be used in both close-range and long-range combat, giving them versatility in their playstyle. These claws are able to sever their targets from the Weave, which could potentially mean that they could phase through solid objects or summon spectral claws to attack from a distance. Some speculations also say that the Titans will be able to use the claws for creating a shield or to increase the damage of their melee attacks. Next, we have the Hunters or Threadrunners, who will be able to grasp threads and weave new ones to dart through the air. This ability will give Hunters unparalleled mobility, allowing them to quickly navigate the battlefield and surprise their enemies. The community is speculating that this ability could also potentially be used to create a shield or even to teleport short distances. For Hunters or Threadrunners, the Strand abilities will give them the ability to manipulate threads to dart through the air. This ability will greatly increase their mobility, allowing them to quickly navigate the battlefield and surprise their enemies. This ability could also allow Hunters to create a shield or to teleport short distances. Some speculations also say that the Hunters will be able to use the ability to create a chain that they can use to manipulate their environment. Finally, we have the Warlocks or Broodweavers, who will be able to tap into telekinetic abilities that allow them to form and shoot missiles. But that's not all. They can even twist Strand into sentient creatures to do their bidding. Some in the community have speculated that this ability could potentially allow Warlocks to summon powerful allies to fight by their side, or even to take control of enemies and make them fight for them. For Warlocks or Broodweavers, the Strand abilities will give them the power of telekinesis, allowing them to form and shoot missiles, but also to twist Strand into sentient creatures to do their bidding. This could potentially give Warlocks the ability to summon powerful allies to fight by their side, or even take control of enemies and make them fight for them. Some speculations also say that the Warlocks will be able to use the ability to create a shield or to increase the damage of their ranged attacks. In addition, the Strand subclass also offers players a lot of flexibility in terms of playstyle. Players can choose to focus on the melee, range, or the supportive aspect of the subclass. For example, a Titan player can choose to focus on melee and use the claws for close-range combat, while another player can choose to focus on the long range and use the claws to summon spectral claws to attack from a distance. Similarly, a hunter player can choose to focus on mobility and use the thread-weaving ability to dart through the air and surprise their enemies, while another player can choose to focus on utility and use the ability to create a shield or to manipulate the environment. The Warlocks also have a lot of potential for versatility. They can choose to focus on the supportive aspect of the subclass by using the telekinetic abilities to summon allies and control the enemies, while another player can choose to focus on the offensive aspect of the subclass by using the telekinetic abilities to form and shoot missiles. Overall, the Strand subclass is shaping up to be a game changer, and with the ability to tailor the playstyle to the player's preferences, it is going to be exciting to see how players will use these new abilities to master the game. The Strand subclass is shaping up to be a game changer, with each class getting its own unique abilities to master. And with the community speculating about the various ways these abilities can be used, the possibilities are endless. So, get ready to bend space and time to your will and dominate the battlefield. When it comes to PvP, the Strand subclass is sure to shake things up. With the ability to manipulate space and time, players will be able to outsmart and outmaneuver their opponents in new and exciting ways. The grappling ability in particular could be a game changer, allowing players to quickly traverse the battlefield and surprise their enemies. The Strand subclass also offers a lot of potential for new strategies in PvP. With the ability to slow down time for enemies or manipulate gravity for quick and agile movement, players will be able to come up with creative ways to outplay their opponents. And with the community speculating about the various ways these abilities can be used, the possibilities are endless. Another aspect of the Strand subclass that could have a big impact on PvP is the potential for new builds. With the ability to tailor the playstyle to the player's preferences, players will be able to craft unique builds that suit their playstyle. This could lead to a diverse meta, with players experimenting with different builds and strategies. All in all, the Strand subclass looks like it's going to be a major force in PvP. The ability to manipulate space and time, as well as the grappling ability, will give players new ways to outplay their opponents. And with the potential for new builds and strategies, the Strand subclass could change the meta in PvP for the better. Overall, the Strand subclass looks like it could have a positive impact on PvP. The new abilities and mechanics, such as manipulating space and time, grapple, and new builds, it could lead to a diverse meta that would create new strategies and playstyles. While the Strand subclass has a lot of potential to bring new and exciting strategies to PvP, it's important to note that there may be some negative impacts as well. One potential concern is that players may be able to manipulate the Strand abilities in a way that creates an unfair advantage. For example, players may be able to use the grappling ability to quickly move around the map and gain an unfair advantage over their opponents. Another potential negative impact could be the difficulty of balancing the Strand subclass. With new abilities and mechanics, it could be challenging for the developers to ensure that the Strand subclass is balanced and fair for all players. This could lead to players exploiting the abilities and creating unbalanced gameplay. Lastly, some players may find the new abilities of the Strand subclass too difficult to use, which may lead to frustration and negative impact on their PvP experience. However, it's important to note that these are just potential concerns, and it's ultimately up to the developers to balance and monitor the Strand subclass. And with the community feedback, the developers will be able to make necessary adjustments to make sure the Strand subclass is fair and enjoyable for all players in PvP. When it comes to PvE, the Strand subclass is sure to bring a whole new level of excitement. With the ability to manipulate space and time, players will be able to take on powerful enemies in new and creative ways. The grappling ability in particular could be a game changer, allowing players to quickly traverse the environment and surprise their enemies. The Strand subclass also offers a lot of potential for new strategies in PvE. With the ability to slow down time for enemies or manipulate gravity for quick and agile movement, players will be able to come up with creative ways to take on the toughest challenges. And with the community speculating about the various ways these abilities can be used, the possibilities are endless. Another aspect of the Strand subclass that could have a big impact on PvE is the potential for new builds. With the ability to tailor the playstyle to the player's preferences, players will be able to craft unique builds that suit their playstyle. This could lead to a diverse meta, with players experimenting with different builds and strategies. All in all, the Strand subclass looks like it's going to be a major force in PvE. The ability to manipulate space and time, as well as the grappling ability, will give players new ways to take on powerful enemies. And with the potential for new builds and strategies, the Strand subclass could change the meta in PvE for the better. Overall, the Strand subclass looks like it could have a positive impact on PvE. The new abilities and mechanics, such as manipulating space and time, grapple, and new builds, it could lead to a diverse meta that would create new strategies and playstyles. This will give players the ability to take on powerful enemies in new and creative ways. It's important to note that while the Strand subclass has a lot of potential to bring new and exciting experiences to both PvP and PvE, there may be some concerns that players should be aware of. One concern is that the Strand subclass abilities may be too powerful or too weak, which could lead to balance issues. The developers will be monitoring the usage and performance of the abilities to ensure they are fair and enjoyable for all players. Another concern is that the Strand subclass abilities might be difficult to use, which could lead to frustration among players. The developers will be providing better tutorials and explanations of how to use the abilities and how they interact with each other to help players to master the new subclass. Additionally, while the Strand subclass is a new addition to the game, it's possible that there may be some design flaws that will be identified and addressed by the developers over time, so players should keep an open mind and provide feedback to help developers improve the gameplay experience. Finally, it's important to remind players that the Strand subclass will be released in the Lightfall DLC, so players will have a chance to test and experiment with the new abilities and mechanics before jumping to any conclusions and provide their feedback to the developers. But that is it for now on this topic. The Strand subclass is shaping up to be a game changer for both PvP and PvE. With the ability to manipulate space and time, grapple, and new builds, players will have a new level of freedom and creativity in how they take on the challenges of the game. While there are some concerns to be aware of, the developers are dedicated to making sure the Strand subclass is balanced and fair for all players. The future of Destiny looks bright and neon, and we can't wait to see what the community will come up with when it comes to new strategies and builds. So grab your neon green weapons and get ready to dominate the battlefield. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.